Peace, family. How you doing? It's Mr. R2 here at Consistency is Currency. Today is Tuesday, the day after MLK Day. So for everybody that celebrated MLK during that time, hats off to you and proud of you for doing it. A lot of people didn't do it. Some people really don't care anymore. But it's not my concern about whether you care or you don't care. It's about my concern of me giving reference to the man himself, the man who have done plenty and mighty great things for this nation, plenty and mighty great things for the culture, and we will acknowledge that. All right, so today is going to be very interesting. But again, like we start with gratitude, we start with reciprocity, and we start with good morning, and we start with reverence, and we start with saying thank you. So for everybody that's listening right now in the Facebook space and everybody that's watching in the Facebook space and watching in the YouTube land, if you haven't checked the YouTube out, those that are listening from the podcast perspective who've never seen it in its visual entirety, go to Consistency is Currency Facebook. Go to Consistency is Currency YouTube channel, and you're able to watch it live because this is working twofold. So if you're just listening to the words from the podcast world, go to the YouTube channel and you're able to watch it live when it happens. Those that are watching on Facebook, appreciate you. Shout out. And I love you, everything you got going on. All right. So again, we're going to give thanks. First of all, we're going to start with gratitude for everybody that is listening. We're going to say, we appreciate you, Italy. These are our numbers right now. Italy, shouts out to Italy for showing love on the podcast world. Nigeria, Canada, India, Germany, South Africa, Australia, Morocco, Mexico, New Zealand, Ireland, Turkey, Netherlands, Pakistan, Algeria, Kenya, and Puerto Rico. We thank you and appreciate you guys for listening to Consistency is Currency podcast. I will always show gratitude. I don't care how old or how long this grows and how long this get. I will always show gratitude. Why? Because when my gift was given to me, my gift is now being shown forward and reciprocated and is going to be given back to you. So I appreciate you for watching and being here. Those that are listening right now in the social space, Miss Salinas, I appreciate you always 100%. All right. We're not going to take long today, but I just want to give you what you're supposed to get. So before we start, I want everyone to say something, and I want you to believe it when you say it. I was created to create. Real simple. Say, I was created to create. Don't just say it in your head, profess it out of your mouth, and also use your Twitter fingers. Use your thumbs. Say, I was created to create, because that's exactly what you were created to do. I was created to create. That's like a new affirmation that you can have set for yourself because it is true in nature. I was created to create. It's not always about procreation and all this other stuff. We're talking about your own very creative nature and the things that you can create out of your mind and spark it into physical existence. So today I want you to say, I was created to create. Real simple. Tell your kids that you were created to create. Because when your child understands that they were created to create, then when it's time for them to do things, that can become their own personal anthem. I was created to create. When things get hard, I was created to create. When they are troubled, I was created to create. That builds a self-esteem that is selfish in nature, but is a good selfish. I was created to create. I'm not worried about you because I know I was created to create. And the things that I'm creating can be creative for you. And the things that I do is then disseminated through my creation. So today, I want you to say, I was created to create. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. So good morning for those that are watching who haven't said it back. I'm just saying. I was created to create. Man, today is going to be good, but we're not going to be on long. So if you know we're not going to be on long, stick around. You might learn something. Take notes. Get you a pen, get you a paper, write it down, because when it sparks the brain, I want you to do something about it. Those that are watching from Facebook or YouTube, things that resonate with you, like we say, the things that resonates with you, write those things down. If it resonate, write it down, because when you begin to write it down as it resonates, then it then begins to plant different seeds and new seeds within your garden, your intellectual property, your intellectual garden, because those things that tap into your intellectual side have the ability to shift that paradigm and create something greater than what was created before. All right. So created to create. Stop waiting and start creating. How many of you are right now in that waiting phase? You've stopped so much that you haven't created yet. All right, so we're going to get into the definition. All right, the definition to create is bring something into existence. Bring something into existence. You know, we always have two definitions, and then I'm gonna give you the R2 definition. Today we tapped into the etymology today, so we're going back to see the origin of where the word create came from and how today it is still relevant, but how you can make it relevant to you and make it relevant to your life as well. All right, being able to creating is to bring something into existence. I like how they have the word something. Bring something into existence. And the second definition of create is cause something to happen as a result of one's action. Definition number two is is cause something or to happen as a result of one's actions. Of course, what we do here, we take definitions and we merge it into today's times and give you another way of viewing it and giving you another way of thinking about it. So I want you to look at definition number one again. Bring something into existence. Definition number two is cause something to happen as a result of one's actions. All right. So the R2 definition, again, it's a merger between the two, something that can resonate with you. So created to create, the definition of that is the results and actions of my existence. Peace. Good morning. The results and actions of my existence, because I exist, the things that show proof of my existence are the things that I create. It is the results and actions of my existence. So if I am a natural creator, if I am a creative, or if I am creating, the existence and the results of my existence is what I create. So what are we creating? What haven't you created to show the results and the actions of your existence? Are you still waiting for the right time? Are you still waiting for the commitment? Whatever it is, you need to produce those results and take actions to your existence. And going back to the etymology of the word create is create. Create is the Latin form of create, and the Latin and the Old English. I merged those two together. So the word create, the definition of the word create we saw, and going back to the origin of the word create is create, which is produce and to form out of nothing. I don't know about you, but I'm something. So I can't be nothing. So if it's something that is formed out of nothing, it is something that is formed from you, because I'm not something because I am something just like you are. And because you are something, it is formed out of you. And because it is formed out of you, then now you have the ability to create or to have the results of the existence of that, the result and the existence of who you are. It is formed out of you. It is something that comes from you. It is something that is coming from the spark of your thoughts. It is something that is produced out of you, because it said it's formed out of nothing. You are something, so it is formed out of you, and it is birthed out of you. So now the first thing I had to pull this because it was just too funny. So the first thing, when you begin to create and learn and understand that you are created to create, you're going to have to fight through the fear. You're going to have to give that fear the donkey kick. You're going to have to kick fear square in the chest and knock fear out of the way, because fear will develop you and not define you. Fear will design you but not dictate you. Fear could begin to determine the direction that you're going because you fought through it, but don't allow fear to demand you. But take a hold of that fear and take the fear and kick fear square in the face and say, I am not afraid to learn. I am not afraid to create, because I am going to allow my fear to be creative into where I'm about to go. So fight through the fear, kick the fear off, acknowledge the fear. Now, don't be stupid. Acknowledge the fear. That fear is in existence, because when you feel a certain way, that's you becoming intellectually sound with fear, meaning I know what fear feels like. And when I feel this way, these are the things that I must do in order for me to fight through this fear. It becomes a familiar feeling, or whether it's, my heartbeat is racing, or you become agitated or aggravated when you fear certain things, whatever it is, you're going to have to fight through that fear, because if you're ever going to be creative, if you're ever going to create something, fear is something that you're going to have to fight through. And the next thing, once you get finished with that, you're going to have to cultivate your creativity. Man, how do I cultivate my creativity? Cultivating your creativity, you're going to have to improve your capacity for selective attention. What are you giving your attention to? What are you giving your time to? You're going to have to be very selective, because I know personally there are some places that I won't go because I'm selective about where my attention goes. It's only right. It's only natural, because I know that I was built to create. So I must be selective with what I see. I must be selective about where I go. I must be selective about who I hang around, who I'm around. I don't really hang, but who I'm around. I have to be selective. It's not stuck up. It's nothing personal to you. It's nothing personal between another person and the next. You are going to have to cultivate your creativity. So you're going to have to improve on your capacity of selective attention. If you don't improve on your capacity of selective attention, then your capacity is going to be consumed by everybody else's thoughts. Your capacity is going to be consumed about how someone wants you to believe, or it's going to be consumed about what everybody else goals is that is being pushed onto you. Improve your capacity of selective attention. There's nothing wrong with having selective attention, because it is about you. Because if within your garden you're growing apples, why are you going to allow someone to come in and plant tulips? That's not the intention of your garden. If your garden was you're growing fruit, then no one should be coming in your garden and planting vegetables. Cultivate your creativity. Stop allowing someone to step inside of your room and to plant false seeds inside of you, because you have to be selective with your attention. Without being selective with your intention, then you're just as guilty as the energy that's in the room, because you allowed the energy to stay in a room because you have yet to improve on your capacity for selective attention. That's good. I probably should have wrote that down. But it's true. It's honest, because when you begin to cultivate your creativity, then you know who's in the room. You know what's going on. You know what you're creating, because you've cultivated your environment. You built the capacity of selective attention. You know what books you're reading. You know what music that you're listening to. Just like when for those that can identify a room and things that were in it, when you walk into the room, say, oh man, somebody's been in here, because this is moved, because you cultivated your space. You've cultivated your space so much that you can look at it and you can tell when something is out of order. You can tell when something is not right because you've cultivated, you've built it, you've created that creative nature. So cultivate your creativity, and I guarantee you, when you begin to build, when you begin to create, you're going to cultivate a culture of an environment that is going to be suitable for your creativity. And the next thing, you're going to have to sharpen your imagination. Like, man, how do I sharpen my imagination? What are you doing with it? What are you doing with your imagination? Now, for me, like it's stated right here, use your commute to your advantage. And that's my personal one. I use my commute to my advantage. When I'm driving long distance, that's when I begin to think. That's when I begin to dissect the things that I'm doing and looking at the things that I probably should have done different. I exercise and use my commute to my advantage. Fun fact, Texas Black Pager was birthed when I was driving to Houston. That's where it came from. When I was driving to Houston, you got 3 hours. When you driving from Killeen to Houston, you have 3 hours. So I have nothing but time to think. I have nothing but time. I'm not competing with any outside noise. I'm not competing with any outside conversation. So use your commute to your advantage, especially for those who drive 30 minutes here or hour to work, or you're driving home. Allow your commute, take that advantage of your commute. So if you need some time to defuse before you go home, take the long way. Take the long way home. Use your commute to your advantage. Use it to diffuse or use it to create. Whatever it is, allow your imagination to be sharpened from based off of what you're doing with your time. Time cannot You don't dictate time, but you can manage the expectations of the time that you've taken. I'm going to say that again. You can't dictate time, but you can manage the expectations of it. Because if I have an expectations of creating this food item that I want to cook, then I must take the time to understand what I want to cook. If I need to go out and purchase items in order for me to cook it, then I must take the time to go out and do it, because the expectations is to have a great meal. So if I manage the expectations of the time that I'm taking, then I must understand that if I expect to have a good meal, then I must have my expectations properly and get what I need in order for the items to be taken care of during with the recipe in order for me to have a good meal. So I must manage the expectations of the time. So manage the expectations of your commute and take advantage of that. And it would begin to sharpen your imaginations. When you go to places and you go out of town, look at the lay of the land that you're in. Look at the city. Look at how it operates. Look at how other people are creative. Now, do not emulate what you see, but you can be inspired by what you see. When they say imitation is the best, man, please stop. Just stop. Stop imitating people. You may be inspired by them, but their gift was given to them, just like your gift was given to you. So stop trying to emulate someone else. You can be inspired, but inspire yourself to create you and redesign you and to sharpen your imagination. And the last one is, I want you to be unique. Be unique. Create with purpose. Be unique. Stop striving to be someone else, but be unique. As you see the chair right there, they're all chairs. They all have a developed purpose, but what makes you stand out was created for you. Your fingerprint was created for you. Everyone has one, but yours was created directly for you. But what are you going to do with your natural creativity? You're going to have to be unique within your creative nature if you're going to ever make a change within the environments that you find yourself in. Be yourself, be the best you, be the unique you that you can be, and be creative, because why? You were created to create. And now I'm gonna leave you with an African proverb. Now, this African proverb, again, look at the highlights. Highlights meaning the words that are in white. This African proverb says, knowledge is a garden. If it isn't cultivated, you can't harvest it. Some of y'all are waiting for the harvest, but you've planted the wrong seeds. So what are you waiting for? You can't blame it on anybody else. You can't cry about what somebody else is not doing for you if you haven't cultivated the knowledge that you have that will give you that bountiful harvest. And as you can see in the highlights, knowledge cultivated the harvest. What you know and what you've learned, it will cultivate your results. How you and what and your selective attention will cultivate the harvest. How you plant those seeds will cultivate the harvest. What are you doing in your life will cultivate the harvest. What are you seeing in front of you in the morning will cultivate the harvest. How and who you communicate could cultivate your harvest. Who you are talking to that's not breathing life inside of you could cultivate the harvest. You keep hanging around them people that breathe nothing but fire and burn everything down within your household, but yet you keep them in the home and you're wondering why your house still smells like smoke, because you allowed them to come in and burn it down, but you've never cultivated your selective attention in order for you to have a bountiful harvest. So I'm gonna tell you something that I told my sister a long time ago. I don't remember how old we were when I said it. Um, and I told her that you're gonna have to pay attention to your garden. Weeds. Now we're not talking about marijuana, but weeds. You don't plant weed seeds in your garden. They show up. They show up and they begin to suck everything out of your garden. It will begin to consume every life form within the garden. You don't plant them, but you have to prune them. You don't plant them, but you have to identify them. You don't plant them, but you have to actively be engaged with how you want and how healthy you want your harvest to be. So have you pruned your garden? Have you pulled those weeds out of the garden? Have you distracted? Are you so distracted within the garden that you have yet to identify why your harvest is not bountiful? You got pesticides all over the place and your fruit won't grow, because you're going to have to begin to cultivate your garden in order for your garden to have its proper harvest. Knowledge will cultivate your harvest. That's all I got for y'all. That's all I got. But I want you to say it and I want you to believe it. I was created to create. I was created to create. As long as you know that, as long as you can identify that, as long as you understand that, I was created to create, because before there was any 10 commandments, before there was any fruits of the spirit, before any of that, I want y'all to know the very first command that was given before anything else, even from the biblical term, it says, when they were created, meaning Adam and Eve, and he also said the same thing to Noah. He said, be fruitful and multiply. That is telling you to create. Simple. Create and multiply. Dominate and multiply. He told Adam and Eve to be fruitful and multiply. After Noah, he told them to be fruitful and multiply as well. But he also told them to increase on the earth. So what are you increasing? You have to increase the amount of knowledge that you have to cultivate the harvest. Get into a book, watch videos, learn something. You don't always have to go back to school, because where you learn is how you learn. What you do and when you do it is going to cultivate the harvest in order for the harvest to have a bountiful growth. A lot of y'all wasting so much time on everybody else and wasting so much time in being dictated on what you're going to do that you have lost your way to be creative. Whoever this was for, I hope you accept it. Whoever this was for, I hope you reach up and grab a hold of it, because you were born to create. You were born to create. Don't worry about nobody else. This is for you. You that have been worrying and thinking about, well, I don't know my calling, or I don't know my purpose. Your purpose was to create. Simple. Your purpose was to create. Oh, I don't know my gift. Find it. Do something with it. Acknowledge that you have one. Your gift is your natural, innate ability and your inheritance that you were birthed to have. After Adam and Eve was birthed, he told them to create and duplicate. He really told them to be fruitful and multiply, but he told them to create and duplicate. So if you want to find out what your purpose is in life, create it. Gain knowledge. Cultivate your selective attention, and I guarantee you, your outcome will be different. The harvest will be different. Knowledge cultivates your harvest. Y'all be blessed. Hey, this is Mr. R2 right here at Consistency is Currency. Make sure y'all watch every morning, weekday morning at 7:30 in the morning. Stop running from it. Oh, I'm not a morning person. Keep believing that if you want to. If there was $1 million on your front door at 7:30 in the morning and you didn't get up to go get it because you said you wasn't a morning person, you failed yourself. Hey, y'all be blessed. And remember, today is another day for you to be successful, and today is another day for you to be blessed. Peace.